Shalom. All praises, blessings, glories, and honors to Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai Bahashem, Racha Kodash, and double honors to my elder apostles and bishop elders of Great Millstone, who taught me this truth, as well of men of like mind. Shalom wa chasad, which means peace and mercy, to the elect of the nation of Israel, Omayusoko Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians, and Israelite foreigners of the seed line of our forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, whom are scattered here in America, which is Babylon the Great, and abroad. To you I say Shalom, beginning with the 144,000 prophets, and Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, willing, this lesson is edifying. My name is Quanawath, and in the news from the ABC News, Trump says it's possible U.S. gets involved in Israel-Iran conflict. No U.S. involvement at this point, says Trump, who's open to Putin as mediator. Published by Rachel Scott on June 15th, 2025 at approximately 1:26 p.m. Middle East on edge as conflict between Israel and Iran continues. On this week, ABC News Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Arad-Datz reports on Israel's strikes on Iranian nuclear sites and Iran's retaliation. President Donald Trump said Sunday the United States is not involved in Israel's military strikes against Iran, but it's possible we could get involved. And this, whether he knows it or not, is a prophetic statement, because according to biblical prophecy, the least of the flock, which is the state of Israel, will draw America, Babylon the Great, out into Western Asia, also known as the so-called Middle East, in the Arabian Peninsula, to become a guard unto itself as a result of what we are witnessing. Jeremiah chapter 49 verse 20. Therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, that he hath taken against Edom. And who is Edom? Edom, according to the book of Malachi chapter 1 verse 4, is the wicked, beginning with their elite banking families. And his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. And the Temanites are Edomites, and the wise men of Teman are the German Edomites. Surely the least of the flock, which is the state of Israel, shall draw them, which is America, Babylon the Great, out where? Out into Western Asia, into the so-called Middle East. Okay? Located in the Arabian Peninsula. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. And how is the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, through his Son, Yahweh Shai, going to make the habitations of the Edomites desolate, including that land that is polluted by small hats, and here in America, Babylon the Great, according to biblical prophecy, by way of thermonuclear destruction, according to biblical prophecy. Okay? That is how the Heavenly Father Yahweh, through his Son Yahweh Shai, are going to make their habitations desolate with them. Now, before I read chapter 50, verse 45, let's read on some more in this article. That comes after reports that Israel had urged the U.S. to join the conflict with Iran to eliminate its nuclear program. In an interview with ABC News, Rachel Scott, Trump declined to comment on whether Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu made a personal plea for the U.S. to get more involved. We're not involved in it. It's possible we could get involved. Well, according to biblical prophecy, America will get involved and become a guard unto the state of Israel, which is the least of the flock. But we are not at this moment involved, the president said. Trump also shared that he had a lengthy call with Russian President Vladimir Putin because Russia is an ally unto Iran, and they will, according to biblical prophecy written of in the book of Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, become a guard unto Iran. Okay? So we are seeing more heightened tensions towards the Third World War. On Saturday, to discuss in large part the conflict in the Middle East, the president told ABC News he would be open to Putin's idea to serve as a mediator between Iran and Israel. I would be open to it. Putin is ready. He called me about it. We had a long talk about it. We talked about this more than his situation. This is something I believe is going to get resolved, Trump stated. The president's special envoy, Steve Witkoff, was set to travel to Oman on Sunday for another round of nuclear talks with Iranian officials. But recently, the state of Israel assassinated through several strikes certain Iranian high officials. But following Israel's strikes, Iran called off the meeting. See? Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Arghichi, if I pronounce his name correctly, called the nuclear negotiations unjustifiable after the attacks, which he said were carried out with the support of the U.S. The president, who stated he gave Iran a 60-day ultimatum to make a deal, told ABC News he is not setting a new deadline. No, there is no deadline. But they are talking. They'd like to make a deal. They're talking. They continue to talk, the president said, referring to Iran. Something like this had to happen because I think, even from both sides, but something like this had to happen. They want to talk, and they will be talking, the president added. Iran's foreign minister told a meeting of ambassadors in Tehran on Sunday that Israel's ongoing attacks on the country could not have happened without the agreement and support of the United States, and insisted Iranian officials do not believe the U.S.'s claim that it had no involvement. Referred to PNAC, Project for the American Century. The last country on that list is Iran. You may do research on that at your leisure. Despite the stalled talks over Iran's nuclear program, pardon me, the president expressed optimism that the strikes will bring Iran to the table quickly. May have forced the deal to go quicker, actually, Trump said. Now let's listen to the report here. That's about 3 minutes and 9 seconds.
Overnight, Israel and Iran exchanging missile attacks for a third day. First responders in Israel searching for survivors after Iran launched dozens of ballistic missiles Saturday into Sunday, killing at least 10 and wounding hundreds more across the country. Israel now targeting Iran's energy industry and this fuel depot. Israel's Operation Rising Lion began well before dawn on Friday. The massive Israeli missile attack targeting Iranian nuclear and military sites, surprising the world with its scale, sophistication, and speed. An astonishing number of Israeli fighter jets, 200 of them, led by the F-35s, hitting targets across Iran, including Iran's main nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz. The attack reminiscent of Ukraine's recent daring drone attack deep inside Russia. Mossad, Israel's clandestine intelligence agency, had managed to smuggle drones into the country and launch them at targets within.
The intelligence capabilities of the Mossad on the ground to be able to launch attacks from within Iran, to have the kind of precise intelligence that allows them to attack and take down all of the senior leadership within the first minutes of the attack is absolutely extraordinary.
But it wasn't just structures that were hit. More than half a dozen top generals and nuclear scientists were killed in a remarkable operation that a source tells ABC News targeted individual homes with drones and pre-planted explosives.
Because they own the skies over Iran, Israel now has the ability to take down all of the oil and gas infrastructure within Iran, which would bring the Iranian economy to a standstill.
Iran's supreme leader vowing revenge, and within hours, the Iranian military launching hundreds of drones and missiles in response. Israeli defenses, with the help of U.S. anti-missile systems, stopping many in flight. But watch as part of an Iranian missile hit by interceptors plunges right into downtown Tel Aviv, leaving a massive plume of smoke. In central Israel, the damage was worse, homes leveled, but Israel is not stopping, saying its attacks have inflicted significant damage to Iran's nuclear facilities and that they are just getting started.
We paved the way to Tehran, and our pilots over the skies of Tehran will deal blows to the Ayatollah regime that they cannot even imagine.
And while the U.S. says it did not take part in the military action against Iran, the Trump administration says it will continue to help defend Israel. And President Trump warning in a post overnight that any attack on U.S. targets will bring the full strength and might of the U.S. armed forces on Iran, at the same time calling for renewed nuclear talks.
And that concludes the report. Now let's end off with Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 45, which reads, "Therefore hear ye the counsel of the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, that he hath taken against Babylon." Now notice, in the 49th chapter, the 20th verse, it says against Edom. But here, in the 50th chapter, the 45th verse, it says Babylon, which proves that Edom and Babylon are synonymous, right? And his purpose is that he had purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. And the land of the Chaldeans is here in the mark of Babylon the Great, prophetically. Okay, it says, "Surely the least of the flock, which is the state of Israel, shall draw them," which is the mark of Babylon the Great, again, out into the so-called Middle East, to become a guard unto the state of Israel, as Russia will become a guard unto Iran. Okay, during the Third World War, which we are in the midst of the Third World War, but it is obviously building up a lot more because we are in a season of war, pursuant to Ecclesiastes, the 3rd chapter. "Surely he shall make their habitation desolate with them." We can revert to Isaiah chapter 13, the latter end of the chapter, including Revelation, the 18th chapter, and other chapters. All right, so with that, this is just a brief report, and I'll catch you brothers and few sisters in the next lesson, Lord's willing. Shalom to the elect.